This has definitely been the worst humanitarian catastrophe that I've ever seen. You can imagine hearing these stories, seeing and taking care of these patients. It is heartbreaking. There's many times that I had to fight back the tears. I remember a young boy, probably between 4 to 5 years old. He had a very serious fracture of his arm. But the most tragic part of his story was he was brought in by an uncle because his immediate family had all died in the explosion that injured him. Another patient that I particularly remember was a young girl, 11 years old, who, when she arrived to us, she was crying inconsolably. She and her family had been the victims of a shelling. She had to have both of her legs amputated, one just below the hip, the other below the knee. We see these wounds are really devastating when they're from explosions. You can imagine hearing these stories, seeing and taking care of these patients. It is heartbreaking. There's many times that I had to fight back the tears. I had very mixed feelings on leaving. Of course, it's extremely stressful. We've all experienced fear under, hearing the bombings at night that sometimes shake the building. That you could feel them through the floor. So, of course, we felt a sense of relief. For my family, who was very worried about me, of course, and also feeling very sad about leaving behind, having all of these colleagues that I've worked with who cannot leave, who are stuck and don't have the option of leaving. It's a very bittersweet feeling that I left with. The other thing that struck me so much in leaving, when you cross the border into Egypt, as you're going through that crossing, once you cross into the other side and seeing all of the Egyptian ambulances waiting on the other side, the rows and rows of trucks with humanitarian aid that are just out of reach. This has definitely been the worst humanitarian catastrophe that I've ever seen. One thing that you really can only really appreciate when you're there, as much as I saw on the news before going, that there really is no safe place, not for the Palestinians, not for those of us as humanitarian actors